Hello everyone, this is Vicky here today designing for Pink Fresh Studio with the brand new Happy Blooms collection. You can see some of the papers there. There's some gorgeous spring colours in there, verging into summer colours, and I'm really excited to get stuck into it. So with this collection you also get a 6x6 paper pad, which is double-sided, which I love, and I'm not making use of the double-sidedness today, but I fully intend to in the future. Thinking folded flowers and things like that. But for now, I'm just using one side, and my idea is to do a nice big title for my layout. So I'm going to hand cut this title because I want super big letters, and so I cut some strips at 3 inches, and I choose 7 papers, and my title's going to be Big Hugs. So I'm going to hand draw this. Don't worry about the pencil marks being all messy because obviously they get erased later. But here we go. So I'm just going to draw out each letter onto the paper. So I cut them all to 3 inches so that they're all the same height. The width doesn't really matter, but the height is quite important. So there we go, Big Hug. I'm not going to do the G because I've got a G above, and I'm going to draw around that so that they're the same. So we've got Big Hugs there, and then I'm just going to cut out each letter, which I won't bore you with. We'll skip through that in a moment. I love all the patterns together. I just think it makes it look really fun and summery and happy. There we go, Big Hugs. I've erased the pencil lines that were on there, so they're all gone as well. And this is all ready for my layout. So I'm going to use some smooth white cardstock as my background. I haven't done anything to it. There's no gesso or anything on it. I am going to do some mixed media, but I'm not going to use a lot of water, so it will be fine. So this is a fine tip black Sharpie, and I'm just drawing around each letter to add definition to it. I'm going to overlap them a bit, and I think that this will help each individual letter stand out on its own. So there we go, onto the last letter there. I love this sort of cornflower blue. It's really, really pretty. So you can see there now that the letters just pop off the page a little bit more and stand out. And my goddaughter's wearing a dark colour in the picture, so the dark colour sort of picks that out. Okay, so this is where I'm choosing some inks to use for my background, and I've already watered them down and painted them onto a page so that I know which colour looks like what. So I pick out 3 that match, and I want the really vibrant colours. So I've got Coral Reef, which is the Candy Apple, which is the red one. Let me see, Stargazer, which is the blue, and Sweet Mustard, which is the yellow. Now here's where I made a bit of a boo-boo. I sprayed some water onto the ink too close to my cardstock and made a bit of a mess. So I got another piece of cardstock, but don't worry, I will use that original piece for something. What I did was I took the ink cube and I flattened it, pressed it down onto my packaging, sprayed some water, and then just put it onto my page. This way I'm not putting water onto the page apart from what's already with the ink. So it was fine not to have to gesso the page first. It came out okay because of the type of cardstock that I used. So I'm using these 3 bright, bold colours just underneath. I want it to be nice and bold and really show. This is no time for subtlety here. So I'm just going to dry those up a little bit so that I can continue to work. Didn't take very long because, as I said, there's not an enormous amount of water. And you'll see the pink is where the pink B is, and the blue is where the blue G is. So I thought that sort of made them pop quite nicely. So I've got 2 photos on there. I do actually only end up using 1 because I couldn't make the 2 work, but they're very similar, so it's okay to do that for me. So I'm just going to put some foam onto the back of these letters just to pop those off of the page. And again, I'll skip through that process, but this is just sticky back foam, which you can get from most craft stores, generally in the children's section. There we go. So the letters are overlapped, so I just put on the foam according to where the letters were going to overlap as well. And now I'm going to stick them down. So I stick the G down. I do take it up in a moment because I realised I wanted my photo to go underneath it a little. So, but that's okay. That's the wonder and amazement of wet glue. I'm using Scotch tacky glue in a fine liner bottle, just in case you're wondering. And it sticks really well and pretty fast as well, but you do have some leeway with it, which is lucky because I really needed to change that G. So I'm putting some tissue paper on the back of my photos. That's just to give it an extra layer between the photo and the layout. I didn't want to add any more papers to the back of it, just purely because I've got lots of papers already on there and I didn't want to introduce any more. So yeah, so I've backed both of them, even though I only use one. And I'm going to pop them up on foam. Well, I pop up one for now and then I pop up the other later because it's the other one that I end up using. Okay, so here we go. Bringing out the floral die cuts because floral die cuts, love them. And this is where I realised that I've actually not really got enough room for both photos. So I substitute that second photo for a floral over there on the right. And I like that little cornflower and pink one at the bottom with the blue. That little tab says, "Love makes everything grow." And I like that. Some great sentiments in here, in this kit. A little tag up there from the ephemera pack. So this is the brand new rainbow, well, it's a couple of weeks old now, the rainbow set with stencil, stamp and die, and it's just stunning. So the stencil's in layers. Now, really I should have put this somewhere square and lined it up, but actually I managed to line it up quite well. So, but just be aware of that. So you put each layer on and put your ink through, and I decided just to go with all yellow for this layout, but you can do multiple colours, you know, blend them together, and it looks fabulous. I've seen some of the design team do these things and they're just wonderful. But there you go, you can see it's very subtle. That's because I wanted it to be subtle. You can make it much bolder. As I said, you can blend it, but yeah, it looks pretty cute. So this stamp actually comes like the stencil with a half butterfly as well, but I actually cut them apart because I wanted to just use the big butterfly, and I could have just obviously kept it together and stamped the little butterfly and not used it, but I decided against that. So now I'm using the licorice colour ink and I'm stamping the image. This is just a Tim Holtz Tonic Studios stamping platform, which I have. You can get various different ones, but that's the one I have. And I find that that really helps to line it up. Otherwise, I'm useless at lining up. So here comes the die. I don't obviously break the die apart, so you'll see that actually it cuts some bits that I don't need, but that's fine. There we go. That's, how beautiful is that? I mean, it's just stunning. And I'm going to just, there we go, just putting a little hole in the tab at the top there and just figuring where I'm going to put my butterfly. Now we're putting foam onto the back of this other photo that I am going to use. And then I'm going to take a bit of the foam off of the G because now it's going to overlap the photo. It doesn't need all the foam. A bit of string to go in my tag, because what's a tag without string? That's just from my stash, that string. And I'm going to cut off a little bit of those leaves just to make that fit underneath the bee a little bit better there. This die cut, I'm going to cut the white edge off. I just felt there was a little bit too much white on it, so I just cut a little bit of that off. And sticking down my photo, which means I can then stick down my G. Finally. Sticking everything else down. I decided to put a little bit of foam under this photo just so that it's slightly popped off the page, and I like that. I like how that looks. And then the butterfly, and I'm going to just adhere it there to the bottom corner of the H because it looks fabulous. I'm just going to stick down the strings from my tag just so that they stay there and don't move around. It's not essential, I just thought that I would do that. And I'm going to stick that little tag on there that we looked at earlier, which looks pretty cute. And then I'm going to put a couple of butterflies on so that I've got 3 butterflies. So the pink one will go up there on the G, and there's a little bluey purpley one which will go down next to the other G there. And I think I just add a little cornflower blue tag underneath the photo from these cardstock stickers, and that's it. And then off camera I also add some essential jewels, some to the butterfly body and some elsewhere on the page, which you can see there on the final layout. So I hope this inspired you, and I hope you're excited to get happy blooms. I know I was. Here are some close-ups as well to take a look at. Please do let me know if you have any questions, and I will link all the products I used below in the description. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Vicky for Pink Fresh Studio. Bye bye.